Hi, I'm Maureen Paraventi. I'm editor of Workplace Material Handling and Safety, and welcome to this thought leadership interview. With me today is Nzingah Ramos, Training Program Manager for CHEMTREC. Now, Nzingah helps develop on-demand, interactive, and comprehensive e-learning courses for all CHEMTREC services, and there are a lot of them. We'll get to that. And that helps companies stay safe and in compliance with regulations. Gareth Black is also joining us today. Gareth is Senior Crisis Consultant for CHEMTREC. Now, he's part of CHEMTREC's Crisis Solutions team. I'm glad there are solutions. And that helps companies anticipate, assess, prevent, prepare for, respond to, and recover from a wide range of incidents and emergency crisis situations. So we've got a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. Now, hazmat training is very serious. Doing it wrong or inadequately can result in some extreme consequences. So with that in mind, how did CHEMTREC develop its hazmat training program?
Thanks, Maureen. I would say we started this venture really by speaking with our customers. We wanted to understand their current methods for training their employees, what challenges they were experiencing, and then what we could do to actually help remedy these challenges. So with their feedback and their guidance, we started working with our subject matter expert to interpret those regulations and then create courses that could align well with the regulations.
Now, one of the big challenges of hazmat training, regulatory compliance, and regulations change. So how does the CHEMTREC hazmat training program address that?
So the subject matter expert that we began working with, we're still working with her 30 years in the industry and as an e-learning expert. She actually reviews our courses regularly. So throughout the year, we may have some updates, and then we have the major updates at the end of the year to align with the regulations. We update our courses, we update the citations, graphics, of course, having that visual aid updated is great for our trainees. And then of course, screenshots that we pull directly from the regulations. And I would say in addition to that, internally, a lot of the CHEMTREC staff review our courses because, you know, CHEMTREC has been the world leader in emergency response, and we're actually celebrating our 50th year anniversary.
Oh,
yes, this year.
congratulations.
Thank you. So when it comes to safety training and security awareness, we add CHEMTREC best practices when we speak about emergency response. In addition, we have, like you said, a lot of other services like SDS services and security solutions. So whenever we address those, we add our CHEMTREC best practices and really focus on what we can do to help our companies from all different aspects.
And as you're talking, I'm also realizing you have to have a global perspective for all that, don't you?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
But Gareth, did you have anything to add? I know Crisis Solutions is it's another monster in itself, right?
Yeah. So I guess backing up what Nzingah said, I joined CHEMTREC in October, so I'm fairly new, and I've just been blown away by that commitment to excellence, and blown away by some of the experts that CHEMTREC works with and employs. I guess to back that up, CHEMTREC recently supported me to become validated in ISO 22301, which is an internationally recognized standard in business continuity and crisis management. And by doing that, I am now a member of the Business Continuity Institute, which is a global institute which sets standards. And that's great because it means we get early sights of drafts, we get involved with working groups, so we know what's in the pipeline as well as what's current. And that means from a crisis perspective, particularly, we can be really proactive in updating material. And I guess that, that's what you get from working with industry experts.
So you're not only helping to develop these standards, but you can stay out in front of those developments for, and use that to inform CHEMTREC's programs.
Yeah, definitely. So we know what current best practice looks like, and we can help influence future best practice, which is really important.
All right, let's get down to a few details. What are some specific considerations for training workers to manufacture, pack, and ship dangerous materials safely?
Yeah, I would say for me, one of the most important things is really teaching the hazmat employees how to use the regulations in order to do their job, day-to-day job. So that's really teaching those employees how to use the manuals, how to use the codes. And we focus on the structure of those books, how to navigate through those books. And then we use guided examples, our quizzes and final exams to reinforce that learning. So I would say that's the most important consideration when it comes to training hazmat employees.
And I have to bring up record keeping. It's the bane of many companies' existences. And as it relates to employee training, it can be a really big task. So is there a way that CHEMTREC's hazmat training program makes it manageable so that companies don't have to devote so much time and effort to it?
Right. I agree, Maureen. When we first reached out to our customers, 2 years ago when we started this venture, it was one of the things they said, just tracking the frequency of the training and even keeping the records of training because you have to keep them on file. So our learning management system, we make sure the certificates are stored for the individual learner. In addition to that, you have managers who are responsible for the training of others. So we have the ability to group companies by company or by department, assign a team manager, and that team manager can run reports, biannually, quarterly, yearly, just to see what type of training the employees have taken, their scores, how long it's taking them to train, because sometimes that is important. So just things like that.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about e-learning for a minute. It is becoming so popular. I'm learning it too. I'm using it to learn how to sew. However, it's used for very serious things as well. Is it as effective, though, as in-person learning when it comes to something as serious as hazmat training?
Yeah, so I'll pick this one up. I think, as you've hopefully experienced with your sewing lessons, it's really convenient. You can do e-learning anywhere at any time, but that just doesn't lead to convenience. That also means that you can find a time when you are most effective. Some of us like to learn in the mornings, in the afternoons, at night. You can pick a time when your head is clear, when you are most focused. We've all been to training courses where we're sat there thinking about 100 other things. E-learning means you can pick it up when you've got that headspace, when you've got that time to think, when you've got that time to focus, which I think is really powerful. It's self-paced as well, which is really important. If you sit in a classroom and you don't understand something, and I've spoken to you for 20 minutes, you might ask me a question, you might ask me to stay at the end, but if you ask me to repeat the last 20 minutes, everyone in the class is going to groan. You don't get that in e-learning. You've got time to reread a section. You don't have to click on till you're ready to reread. It's very self-paced. You go at your own pace when you're ready to move on. From a design perspective, it can help us meet a whole range of different learning needs. So there's a lot we can do in a classroom, but there are so many more tools from an e-learning perspective. There are videos, case studies, activities. There's a lot we can do to bring learning to life. I think as well, e-learning is great because it's built by experts. So expertise in some of the fields that we are discussing today are pretty niche. There aren't hundreds or thousands of experts out there up to the standard of CHEMTREC who can travel all over and deliver this training. If you use this e-learning, it's been built by the best and you're getting the best quality training. And that extends beyond subject matter expertise. That goes into people like Nzingah's team, who are instructional designers, who make really tailored learning experiences where the learner's got control. Again, in a classroom, you can't press rewind on me. You can't get me to pause. You can do all that in an e-learning environment. You can explore this as required and at your pace, which I think is really powerful and really important.
I have to agree. And it seems like it also factors in a certain psychological component. People may be embarrassed in a classroom setting to ask questions that they feel might be obvious, the answers, but in an e-learning situation, it's so individually paced that they can explore at their own speed, so to speak.
I definitely agree with everything you said, Gareth and Maureen. The team that Gareth was referencing, those instructional designers have a background in education. And I think that's very useful because we're building courses for adult learners and we all have different learning styles. So with that background, they can take the content and put it in a way that it's appropriate for the adult learners and then test that they've understood the material.
Oh, testing is another good point. I was going to ask about that. You beat me to it. Now, I understand that CHEMTREC has an exciting new range of offerings under development to complement the existing hazmat courses. Can you give us a little preview of what we can expect from those new services?
Yeah, so I am really excited for us to be launching CHEMTREC Crisis Solutions. This is a service offering training, plans, exercising, helping companies to prepare for, respond to, and recover from incidents, emergencies, and crisis situations. And this is everything from really bespoke consultancy for larger firms through to toolkits to help smaller firms get themselves ready to respond. And really, it's quite a natural extension of CHEMTREC's offer. It is about the broader response support for companies and demonstrating, CHEMTREC's commitment to safety across the sector. It forms a key part of that. Our focus as part of this service is really to develop and support people and in turn companies to prevent, respond to, and recover from incidents, emergencies, and crisis situations. And in turn, that helps companies protect 4 key areas. So it helps companies protect their people, so their customers, their staff, the local community. It helps them protect the environment by stopping incidents from escalating as soon as possible. Helps them protect their assets, so it stops companies having downtime or reduces downtime as a result of incidents and helps them recover much faster. And really importantly, it helps protect companies' reputation. So communities, customers, and the general public will come out after an incident and be thankful of the company's quick and effective response. And we give companies the tools to do all that. I think traditionally, companies have looked at crisis management and they might have written a plan, but they've probably put that plan on a shelf and it's gathered dust and they've thought, I'll pick that up when something happens. If you wait for that to happen, it's too late. We want to help companies move beyond that. We want companies to have people who are in a state of readiness, who have the tools to help them respond. And we help them by developing plans so that they've got the handrails to do that. And we help them by upskilling their staff so that they are ready to respond no matter what happens.
And I do have another final question for you. CHEMTREC has recently introduced some new training courses. Why did you choose to create these specific courses and what do they include?
So I'll just carry on from the crisis solutions discussion. Part of the offer what I've just described, we are delighted to have 2 courses close to launch for crisis management. I guess, as I've just said, human behavior and supporting individuals and teams to respond really underpins our ethos at CHEMTREC Crisis Solutions. Crisis situations don't follow a really predefined path. I wish they did. I wish we knew how a crisis is going to play out. It would make my life easy. It might mean I'm unemployed, but yeah, we don't know how a crisis situation is going to unfold. And that means traditional approaches to training people where we teach them to follow step 1, 2, 3 in a crisis situation. They don't work. What we need to do is give people the tools and skills to deal with uncertainty. We need to help them make sense of chaos. And our Instant Response 101 course does that. So we focus on 4 key non-technical skills, and these are the basis of an effective response to any situation. So we teach people how to become situationally aware. Do you understand what has happened, what's happening now, and what might happen in the future? We focus on decision-making. Do you know how to take an effective decision to get the incident under control? We help people be better at communications. Communications are the single biggest point of failure the world over. In instance, they create and exacerbate more situations than any other factor. So we help people by giving them the tools to communicate effectively in an instant. And then finally, we talk about leadership. How do you effectively lead the response to an incident? If you've got these foundational skills, you can respond to any situation. And Instant Response 101 does that. Our second course for crisis management is much more general. So it has an aim to create broad awareness across all staff, an introduction to key concepts about crisis management. It teaches staff about their role in preventing and escalating crisis situations to help companies respond to them proactively, which is really important. And we started with these 2 courses because these give companies a fundamental grounding in how to prevent and respond to incidents, emergencies, and crisis situations. And when these are supported by a well-written plan and a robust exercising program, they can help companies protect their people, environment, assets, and reputation. And I know in Nzingah, there's a couple of other courses you wanted to touch on.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thanks, Gareth. So the most recent course that we've launched is our OSHA Hazard Communication Standard. It focuses on those companies that have employees who handle chemicals in their workplace. So it differs from the other hazmat training courses a little bit, just because those are focused on shippers. We have awareness training and shipping via different modes of transport. So this is more of a workplace safety course. It'll cover the GHS, or the Globally Harmonized System, how that relates to the HAZCOM standard, and it'll cover classification of your physical hazards, your health hazards, and then of course labels, safety data sheets, and training. So I would say for the rest of 2021, we are going to work with Gareth and the Crisis Solutions team, really build up the Library for Crisis Academy and come out with some more courses for our shippers.
So the ones you mentioned are already in play. The one Gareth was talking about are yet to be launched. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. And do we have a launch date for those 2 that Gareth mentioned?
I think we're aiming for April, 1st or 2nd week of April.
Oh,
yes, we
coming
are.
Up.
Okay.
It's soon. We were both a little scared to say it. It
makes it real, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
Well, April is coming. That will do it. Do you 2 have anything else you'd like to add? I feel like we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. Thanks, Maureen.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I so appreciate you joining me for this thought leadership interview. And anyone watching, you can get even more information by visiting the CHEMTREC website. That's chemtrec.com. And that is spelled CHEMTREC.com. And of course, we'll have the information on the screen too. So if it went by too quickly, then you can get it that way. So thank you, Nzingah and Gareth, and thank you for watching.